All right, man. So let's go ahead and jump right into the first story here, which is actually, let's talk about the transfer portal, man. That's where I want to kind of get things started here.
Yeah.
So after the Forever 22 game, which we'll get to soon, I know we're all looking forward to AJ's massive and complete breakdown of that game in its entirety.
Absolutely. Play by play.
He was at the game. His family was there with him. He's like, no, don't bother me. I got to take these notes for Darren. He's not going to, like, it's not like.
It's true. I had my iPad out. I was taking videos. It was insane.
On Twitter, checking the injury reports, everything.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, we did see in the Forever 22 game, we actually got to see Zacharias Williamson, going by Zach this year, by the way.
Yeah.
Don't know what that's about. Catch a beautiful pass from Devin Dampier in that game.
Also dropped a fantastic pass from Devin Dampier.
Yeah, that did also happen. But again, that's his coverage of that game. We'll get to that.
Yes.
He now has actually entered the portal. For what it seems now, which this could be a major blow because Zach Williamson was
just Williams.
Sorry, Williamson. Zach Williams was the number one returning receiving option for this team. That he puts his name in the kitty to see if he can find greener pastures elsewhere. Now, obviously, this doesn't mean that he won't be with the team next year. We saw this exact thing. Isaac Wilson pulled this exact same bullshit. I mean, the exact same strategy last off season, before what's the word I'm looking for?
Portal period.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean he won't be here. But what are your thoughts on how this is going to impact our youth, man?
Yeah, I mean, this guy had a couple of really good games to kind of finish the season out. And I mean, just like you said, he was looking to be a huge part of the offense this year for the Utes, right? He was kind of the number one target. He's got a big body. He's got good hands. He does a really good job finding open space on the field and being ready to just catch the football and, get extra yards after contact. This kid was a stud, man. I was looking forward to seeing him. And to hear that he's going into the portal is definitely a little bit of a surprise. But I mean, the fact is we know with NIL money and all of the rumors surrounding some of the local schools in the States.
Please don't tell me you're buying into all that crap.
No, I'm not. But okay. Greg just commented tampering. So I had to go in.
Okay.
I just think that obviously, we're at a point now where I think these players are kind of probably starting to see what the offense is going to look like. Is it going to be a pass-heavy offense like it was last year? I don't think so. I think it's going to be a lot of options, I think he's probably just like, well, I want more receptions than probably what they're looking to give me. And he didn't play, he didn't have like a breakout game against a secondary Utes defense like he probably should have had.
Right.
And also there were some guys that did have really good games. And I think those guys are probably going to get an opportunity to catch some more balls. And with that being the case, I think it's just really easy for guys to just be like, yep, nope, this isn't going to work.
Yeah, with Zach, I think it's a little different. With some of these other players, I think it's very much like, hey, this is what the role we play. After the spring game, they bring them into the office and like, hey, this is the role we're planning for you.
Yeah.
Probably even some of these people, they probably said, hey, you probably should put your name out there and see if you can get something a little more because it's what we have to offer you.
Absolutely.
Based off of that. So I think there's a little bit of that there. But I also have to agree with you there when it comes to Zach. While we on the outside looking at it, this being one of the best receivers we had last year returning, to all of a sudden throw his name in there. I don't know, man. I think it's really simple to look at it this way, but it's kind of a cop out, but it's also probably the truth. Occam's razor, the simplest definition is always the best, right?
Yep.
So, you got to follow the money, man. Where the money goes is where this is going. If he thinks he's got an opportunity to make more money elsewhere, he's going to put his name in the portal just to see, and then he's going to pull his name out of that if he doesn't get the offer that he wants. Now, I think that's all this really is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I totally think that could be the case. I mean, the good news is we have been hitting the portal, obviously now knowing this, we know we're going to have to go in this spring period and, go try to find a wide receiver or two, and try to get somebody that's, can bring some excitement to this offense and someone that's going to go out there and, produce on the field.
Yeah, I mean, we got until Friday for these people who have entered the transfer portal to decide, which there's also some other one, Jalen Davis, and David Washington.
Right.
They're also the other two that have announced within the last day or two that they're jumping into the portal as well. Now, this is not just something that's Utah's issue. I mean, BYU lost to several of their core key pieces that they had in last year's team as well. But it does definitely seem that the Utes are getting hit a little harder with this. I do want to kind of jump into some of these comments we're getting here from Greg. The first one is, like you mentioned there, tampering. And then he has another one followed up with, it's because of tampering. Tampering is a major problem. So I don't know, man. What's your take on the tampering thing?
Um, I I think that tampering's probably always been a problem. I think there's always going to be. I mean, once you introduce the transfer portal, tampering is just you're allowing it to really run rampant through the league, right? The fact is every single player can pick up their phone and say and get asked the question, are you thinking about entering the portal? And if the answer is yes, all they have to say is, yeah, I might. What and they can't, I don't think they can say much more than that, but hey, maybe this school could make it worth your time.
Mm-hmm.
Just give us a call if you enter the portal. So I mean, I think NIL and the transfer portal is just a deadly combination. And Utah's not the only school that's dealing with tampering. There's going to be schools all over the country that are getting, players are getting phone calls. I mean, it was reported pretty widely last year that Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty was pretty heavily pursued to not go to the NFL because he had 1 year of eligibility left.
Right.
To take an NIL deal somewhere that would probably have made him more money than he's getting, in the mid first round of the NFL this year. So it's not just here; it's going to be everywhere. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I don't know, man. I'm right there with you, man. Caitlin Clark even was offered like a massive payday to go back for 1 more year.
Yeah.
And, she decided not to do that and go to the NBA because her endorsements aren't going to leave her if she's not in college. So didn't really matter for her that way. But I think I'm kind of spot on with you there. I actually think there's more psychology to this than what people are letting on. So unless you're my age, right, when you remember that Lavelle Edwards was 22-2 against the Utes.
Yeah.
I mean, against the Utes for BYU. You've only been around for this, dominance of University of Utah football over BYU.
Right.
And you're seeing all this stuff happen on the basketball side. We haven't seen any of these numbers be reported on the basketball side. We got that AJ Dabanza being like Ryan Smith's like 8th highest paid player on his payroll for BYU.
Yeah.
Even though he's not, SCG's paying him, right? So, and then also that kid from Baylor that got offered $1 million, and then BYU tripled it. Now we're paying him $3 million. There's no evidence that kind of money is being thrown to the football's program like it is being thrown to the basketball's program.
Right.
However, if you look at it, the difference between the two schools, there are really 2 main donors that are in the 7-figure spot here. And this is something I learned off of ESPN radio on the drive with Spence Checkets today. There are really 2 7-figure donors to the University of Utah. And it's not hard to pick them out because there's buildings named after them up there.
Yeah.
But down south, there are at least 9 7-figure donors to that program.
Right.
Because, a lot of people down there from BYU, they start tech companies. They become very rich. They become very invested in what's going on there. One of them is Ryan Smith of the Jazz. He's spending a lot of money down there to get that basketball team where he wants to be. But there's no evidence that stuff's kind of transferring over to the football program. And here's my thing about that is that there has always been players that played for BYU and then ended up playing for Utah and then ended up playing for Utah and then came back to BYU. Even Winningham turned down his alma mater to coach for BYU to come to Utah. Like, this is something that happens every single year. And the only difference now is that it's out front and public that NIL money is being involved. Yeah. Is it possible that BYU is saying, oh, hey, if you were to happen to, sends a buddy over there that's on the team, like, hey, if you happen to enter the portal, just saying, we probably got a little bit more money for you. To think that that's not happening, you're going to be that's naive.
Yeah.
That's happening. But here's the thing. That's always been happening.
Right.
This is nothing new. This is something that's been happening in college sports for as long as it's been, even before NIL was around. And yeah, guess what, BYU fans? You have more money than Utah has now. That is quite clear. I actually talked to you about this when we first found out about NIL coming out. I'm like, this is good for BYU because BYU has plenty of money that they could offer players and head coaches. They just don't usually pay their head coaches, but now they got plenty of money they can offer players. They can do it all above board, and they probably weren't willing to do so before because it was considered wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now it's all above board. Now they can do it. They have more money, and Utah's kind of getting the short end of the stick on some of this stuff.
Yeah.
That's just kind of where I'm at there. I don't think it really has anything to do with the fact that it's now, they're specifically targeting you. BYU had a much better year last year than Utah did. Why would they specifically target all their players to bring them down?
Yeah. I mean, and realistically, it's not like the U's done anything yet. They went and got a new offensive coordinator. They went and got a new quarterback. But I mean, especially if you're in the program and you're seeing what this offense is going to look like, I think they're obviously going to have much more luck, recruiting and getting some of these guys that are defensive players because we send players to the NFL.
Yeah.
But
on the
but
defensive side.
offensively, you've got to be an absolute breakout for the U to even have a chance in the NFL.
Dalton Kincaid, is a perfect example
Dalton
of that.
Kincaid, I mean, Tyler Huntley,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
Like Zach Moss. Some of these guys are like, they were absolute stars, and there was no doubt they were going to the NFL.
Yeah.
But it's
The defensive line, you're like, who? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. I mean, it's just
Drafted in the second round, huh?
It's
Yeah.
just much different for offensive players at the U.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you, man. We want to hear from you folks. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. We're getting a lot more into the whole Utah BYU thing coming down here in a minute, so I definitely want to get into that subject more, but I want to get in these comments here. Let's go ahead and start with the first one we got from Greg Hawkins here. It's like, if you're offering NIL 10 times what your kid is making here, then
how can you blame the athlete?
Yeah, you definitely can't. You definitely can't blame the athlete on that one for sure. I know I wouldn't. Just like we were talking about with the Baylor kid there. If you're paying a guy $100K and he gets offered $1 million to go somewhere else, he's going to jump in to the portal.
Yeah.
It's just basic math. Yeah, basically exactly what we were kind of saying there, Greg. See, the athletic program quite literally leaked to the media that they were being tampered with in football. Yeah, but again, this isn't new. Like, this is kind of, they can't directly, they're saying, both teams will say they're not directly poaching players, but if a player enters the portal, then he's free game. However he decides to enter the portal, that's kind of the gray area. That's always kind of been there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's no way you can legislate that. Even if you did kind of go with some type of NCAA rules or something like that around that, there's always going to be ways around it. You're going to have a cousin's friend's uncle who
all it takes is knowing somebody that knows somebody.
Exactly. And you can't really get around that, It's been reported that separately by like 4 sources. Yeah, I just think it's just people in the Utes just crying, man. Like, there's no way around it. Like, I see where they're coming from, and I think but to act like they're not doing the exact same thing, Yeah,
you've got to believe that the U is also out there making offers to players that are, maybe or maybe not above or below grade.
And honestly, if they're not, they better start trying, because it's
we're gonna need a lot more effort out of them.
Yeah. And if you think BYU's wasn't paying players before it was legal, let me tell you, Nick Embry. Yeah, I remember that story. Do you remember that story?
No.
Okay, this guy was like I don't know, Greg, he played there for like 5 years, something like that. He got busted for like driving like a Mercedes Benz or something like that, and like it was pretty funny, And again, like I said, it wasn't like paying directly. It was a kind of under the table thing that he kind of got busted for. It was like I said, it was a thing. It's something that's, like I said, they may be more willing now to do it because it's all above board than it used to be. It's kind of my
right.
Point,
they can publicly say so much more than they could before.
Yeah, they didn't have to hide it, and it's more regularly available until it's Wild West until they have to make something up for it. We got McKinley Coulter jumping in there. McKinley Cutler. I did it again, dude.
You did.
Gosh, sorry, McKinley. I keep doing that to you, man. It's always been happening. Now it's just legal. There are poaching players from everyone. I know Baylor is pissed that BYU poached their star point guard. Yeah, and the funny thing is, man, is that it was nothing like, oh, what are you getting paid? $1 million? Okay, we're gonna triple that. Come to BYU. Play with AJ DeBansa. Let's make a deep run. That's a no-brainer, man. It's crazy. Other big programs like Alabama have been doing this. This Utah just pissed that.
It's just pissed that it's BYU's their rival.
Oh, okay. It's just pissed that it's BYU and it's their rival.
Yeah.
We also have Greg jumping in there. Says, I don't even think Williams was being tampered with by BYU. I think some other program. Oh, okay. Yeah. So you're saying that, and I think that's just happening everywhere, man. Thanks, man. Thanks, McKinley. Appreciate it. Do you remember when he called me out there on the first time I did that?
Yeah.
It was great. He was very kind about it. He's like, yeah, Darren, you even get my name wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. We love it. Keep it coming, guys, because this is a debate that can go on and on and on. I honestly think that this is something that's been going on, and it's just we just have these insiders up at the U who are basically just glorified fans because they want to be in the press room, they want to be in the locker room, and they're just going to be hey, say this in the media there, say this. So
it's really easy, and I mean, NIL and transfer portal is just until there's some regulation on it, it's only going to get worse. Like
Yeah.
we're literally just touching. We're only seeing the tip of the iceberg here.
No one seemed to care when it was the coaches doing it. It's only when the players are getting paid that it seems to be an issue.
Yep,
Which is an
exactly.
interesting way to look at it.
Yeah.
Anyway, like I said, folks, we want to hear from you folks. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below in regards to that. So keep that coming. It's fun stuff. So now we need to go ahead and jump into the other big story that's been breaking a lot lately, which again is more Utah insiders. I do. If you're listening on the podcast, there I got some air quotes going on there. Got the finger bunnies going. When it comes to this one is and I'm still in line from you from last week. Where there's smoke, there's fire, right? And there are some local message boards out there with Utah insiders above the athletic program department. They're claiming that the Utah to the Big-10 is a done deal. Of course, these are just rumors coming from unnamed insiders with unverifiable sources. They're claiming this is going to happen. It's going to go down the next few months. Message boards are stating that Utah is unhappy with the Big 12 and are clearing hurdles to become Big 10 eligible. With Utah being a top research facility and now being an AAU school as well as of just a couple of years ago, Utah is now in a much better position to join the Big 10. AJ, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I do think that, it has been pretty widely reported that the Big 10 is considering expansion. And the fact is Utah is definitely a possible candidate. I don't think that I don't know if there's much to this quite yet, right? I mean, anybody in the Big 10 is obviously going to appreciate Utah's consistency. Obviously, it's been, a great football program, but there's going to be a ton of programs that are going to want to join the Big 10 when that place does happen. And the fact is like there's a ton of things that have to happen way before Utah could even considering joining the Big 10, which is not going to be able to be done quietly, right? Like there's financial hurdles. You've got to exit the Big 12. You've got, figuring out all of the scheduling issues. Like, yeah, the Big 10's got, they've got a footprint on the West Coast now. They've got UCLA, USC, Oregon. They've got some schools that way. And I do think that the Big 10 will look to extend their footprint further west. I think Utah's a prime candidate. But to say that some of these unreliable, I think when you're getting into message boards and stuff, nobody knows who these people are. I mean, it's really easy to create an Instagram account or a message board account and throw out some information and it gets things swirling like this. This one, I don't know if there's any legitimate smoke on this, right? Like,
yeah, the account is Ute for Life 22. It was recently created about 5 days before he mentioned this on Ute Zone message board.
Right.
Yeah. Who knows? And then, this also helps by being fueled by comments from Coach Witt, who every time he talks in the press about potential conference expansion and all that stuff, his favorite quote is, "Who knows how long we'll be playing these teams?"
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like he's kind of just feeding the fire there himself as well,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Which, I think it's just in the best interest of the program. So I don't know why he wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm kind of right there with you. But, this is something that also is broken recently. This actually came out a couple days ago. Jim Williams on Twitter talks a lot about conference realignment and has been in the media for quite some time. Stated that he spoke to several Big 10 officials who are a part of the vetting process when it comes to bringing new members into the conference.
Yeah.
And he said, according to Williams, that Utah is a really good fit. There's a lot to like about Utah, but they are in no means a lock. They are plenty of candidates to go over before exploring adding any additional teams. So I don't know, man. Do you want to know what my take is on this?
Yeah.
I think this makes 110% sense.
Oh, 100%.
Not in a couple months like these posts are. I think these are trolling posts. I think people see this and think it's actually means something when it actually doesn't.
Right.
But on that same concept there, I think this is perfect. And I think the Utes are doing this. I think they absolutely are clearing hurdles to make them make sure they are Big 10 eligible.
Absolutely.
Because like I talked to you about, the whole point about being in the Big 12 is that we've talked about this several times about how this whole Big 12 experiment is an audition to get into the Big 10 or the SEC when the next college conference realignment happens. That's all this is.
Yeah.
And all the Utes are doing are quietly in the background, making sure that when time comes, they are one of the prime candidates, as you mentioned, to be on the front lines and to be one of the first options that they go to. I think this is absolutely true that this is what the Utes are doing. Do I think it's going to happen in a couple of months? Absolutely not. I think that's just a troll post. What I do think is happening is that they are putting themselves front line center for when they do potentially start gathering up all the players from the players when the ACC eventually folds, which I think they will, because they're in a terrible TV deal, and they're about 4 or 5 years from that being a total collapse over there. They're already in a lawsuit with 2 of their teams, right? I think this conference is going to go the way of the Big 12. Yes, I know they're not dead yet, and until they're not a power conference. Okay, Big 12. Until you are, you're not. But I think this is something that's going to happen about 3 or 4 years when college football becomes 2 super conferences. I think that's all this is.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely, the Big-10 shifting west. Like some of the speculation around the Big-10 moving west is like they're moving their media days to Las Vegas, and there's a ton of speculation again about them moving the Big-10 conference championship to Vegas. So if they continue to move their footprint west, yes, of course Utah makes sense. I mean, we've filled up, the Raider Stadium multiple times for bowl games. Down in Las Vegas, it's a 5.5 hour drive. We're plenty close to it. Like teams from the West Coast come in, they fill it up. So, and everybody likes going to Vegas. I mean, that's just a thing. So I don't know, man. I think a move to the Big-10 is going to happen at some point, or major conference realignment is obviously going to happen. But to say that, I think you nailed it. I think Utah's making sure that they're top of the list, but I mean, I don't think that's anything other than that.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you folks. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below when it comes to this. Again, this is something that was brought up by Locked On Big-10, Locked On Utes, Locked On Big 12. This is something that was all over the place. So I just thought it would be nice for us to kind of quickly touch on it. And again, kind of temper expectations on what's going on here. So we'd love to hear from you folks. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Let's go ahead and jump into some of these comments here. We have Greg Hawkins jumping in here saying, I'll believe it when I see it. LOL. Personally, an extremely skeptic of Utah and the Big-10 rumors. Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you 100% on that one. We got another one here from Aaron Henry. Yeah, but I know I would love to see Utah versus Michigan again. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, that'd be great.
Yes.
Go Big Blue.
Thanks for joining, Aaron.
Yep. We have McKinley here saying in 5 to 6 years, I think all. Yeah, I think that's about right, man. I think that right after I think it's where the next round of TV deals are expiring. I believe the Big-10, the Big 12 is 1 year after the Big-10.
Yeah.
So I think when we're only a year out, they'll do some buyouts. I think that would make sense then.
Yeah.
So that's.
I mean, they're going to have to change things, and hopefully, obviously, the NCAA gets some of this NIL, some NIL regulations in, some transfer portal regulations in, and I mean, I think they could. My personal opinion is they could fix the transfer portal by removing a year of eligibility when you enter. But what do we know?
Yeah, as long as there's some penalty on the coaches too.
Yeah,
that's 100%. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
You forfeit a year of your salary to the charity of the school's choosing.
Yeah.
Like I just think you can't punish the players for wanting to transfer if you're not going to punish the coaches. That's kind of where I sit on that. Anyway, as you guys have all been waiting patiently for over the last 25 minutes, AJ, let's go ahead and break down the Forever 22 game.
Yeah.
Tell us all about it, man. I'm
Absolutely.
ready for the detailed notes. And go.
Okay. So, I mean, the Forever 22 game the environment was great. It was actually pretty loud for only half the stadium being full. The fans were into it. The stadium, I mean, they only sold the east side, right? So only the east side was actually there, and it was obviously the side that was on TV. So it looked like it was pretty crowded, and it was. I mean, realistically, there was a lot of people. I mean, we had 3 seats, and every seat around us was all the way full.
They only sold the east side of the building.
Only the east side, yeah.
The side that's in the sun.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, so I got a little bit of sunburn. It was fine. Anyways, it was really fun. You know what I mean? Like it was exciting. It was actually a pretty good game. The offense versus defense was kind of a different scheme that made it fun because I wasn't sure who to cheer for. Like I wanted to see the offense kind of get moving. And of course the offense started slow. So I mean they went out there and they didn't look great to start it. But I think Devin Dampier was kind of as advertised. I mean, the dude's got a really quick release. He made some really good decisions. He needed some help from wide receivers in this game. Like there was a couple drop passes that stalled out drives that ended up giving the Utes defense points. And it wasn't even on him. The guys just missed balls.
Oh, wow.
So that was kind of tough to watch. But I mean, realistically, I think the point that we have to remember is anybody that was anybody was sitting out of this game, right? Wayshawn Parker was out. The whole offensive line was out. I mean, almost the whole starting defense was on the sideline. Like nobody, they weren't risking injuries with anybody.
No, why would you? You know,
it just wasn't worth it. And you could tell it. And, you know, as the game progressed further, you're seeing further and further down the depth chart kind of out on the field. Mm-hmm. And that actually kind of made it more fun because you saw guys just absolutely fighting for their life. It was, I can't remember his first name, but Shaw's his last name. He's obviously the running back coach's son, or I can't remember who Shaw is. Anyways, he's a running back, and dude had some great breakoff runs. Looked, I mean, very, very quick. Made some great lateral moves to, make some good moves upfield. It was a fun game to be at. We had a blast. The weather was beautiful, and I mean, it got me excited. 4 more months of football season.
There you go. There you go. There's the complex breakdown of the Forever 22 game, man.
You're welcome.
Love it. We want to hear from you folks. Let us know in the comments down below what you think of the Forever 22 game. Yeah, man, I'm kind of right there with you, man. It's basically just a great way to get out there, see the boys in red, hear the padded helmets hit, each other for a little bit and get a hot dog and just enjoy it, man. Enjoy the atmosphere, because let's just face it, man, the first 3 or 4 games of the year get really, really hot.
Yeah.
So to have a nice, cool game.
And I think the player that I was probably most impressed with, and I forgot to go into that real quick, but the player I was probably most impressed with might have been Bird Ficklin, the third string quarterback. Dude's big. He's got to be 6'3", 6'4". I'm not sure what he's listed at, but he's big.
That was my standout guy from the first scrimmage.
Yeah. This dude, he's got some zip on the ball, man. Watching him get the ball up the field, he made some really, really impressive throws. He dropped a couple over top that, turned into good plays. He wasn't off target a whole lot. He wasn't a lot off target. Like he wasn't missing receivers, but he's big. He's athletic. He's left-handed, which was super weird. But I don't know. I really liked him. I was like, wow, this guy, I kind of like this guy.
Yeah, dude. He was my guy when I was talking about, when we talked about the spring.
He was really fun to watch.
I'm awesome, man. Well, you heard it here first, guys. The exclusive breakdown for DNA Sports Recap by your boy AJ.
You're welcome.
Exactly. You are all welcome. Let's go ahead and jump into some of these comments here. We also have another comment here from McKinley Cutler. It says Big Dominion schools that just will just be one of 3 super conferences. So Utah to the Big-10 isn't that surprising. No, I'd have to agree with you on that one. Would you rather them be in the Big-10 or the SEC?
I think I'd rather go Big-10.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too.
I think they fit better in the Big-10.
Maybe conferences just go away and we do an East and West like professional sports. Yeah. We actually did a video that never actually made it, but we talked about kind of some of the conference realignment and what we thought it would be. So you guys let us know your thoughts. You want us to break it down again? We're more than happy to. Yeah. And I think it makes all the sense in the world and to follow the pro model, because as long as everybody's getting paid and everything's going like this right now,
you're professional athletes.
It goes back to the Jerry Seinfeld joke there, is that in all reality in college sports right now, all you're doing is cheering for laundry.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing. You don't remember, the players on the jerseys aren't the same players as the year before. It's just been crazy. Yep. So we have the next comment here is from Aaron Henry. Where's the complex part? Let's talk about your breakdown.
Where was the complex part? Yeah.
Your sunburn is really showing.
Thanks, Aaron.
I like that.
It's actually just a red light behind me, but it's fine.
East and West would be an interesting to see. Yeah, it would be. I think I agree with you on that. Once again, folks, if you are joining us on DNA Sports Recap, keep in mind we did launch a channel specifically for your Utah football content called Utah Football DNA. And this is where all of our Utah football content will be posted first. So make sure if you are watching this on our main channel, DNA Sports Recap, you check out Utah Football DNA. It'll be linked in the description down below. So be sure to check that out. And consider subscribing if you like the content and smash that like button for your boy AJ over there. We also got more University of Utah stuff coming your way in the merch store. So be sure to check it out.
Do it.